Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome to the show. I'm Jose Cruz from the San Diego Council on Literacy. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio. Our guest today is Dr. Kelli Sandman-Hurley from the Dyslexia Training Institute. Welcome to the show, Kelli.
Hey, Jose. Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you, man. Very exciting because you're doing a lot of stuff. And now people need to know about it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so this is going to be fun. We're going to have a good time with 4 segments with Dr. Kelli Sandman-Hurley, and we're going to talk about her history in literacy, her work in dyslexia, her books, and then something else that she's done recently, interviewing 50, let's say students, adults. I'm not sure. You're going to tell us more. Who are dyslexic and the things that you learn from them, which I'm really looking forward to chatting with you about. How are we coming through on sound? Can you hear us? Everybody okay? Very good. All right. So Kelli, I know a bit of your history, but I'd like to know how you got into, first of all, literacy. I think you're a San Diego person. You ended up working literacy programs for a long time and then transitioned into the dyslexia work.
Yeah, so I started working at the San Diego Public Library, Read San Diego, the adult literacy program at the San Diego Public Library. So I started there as an intern, and then I got lucky enough to get a full-time job there. So I was there for 12 years working with adults, and that's where I met Tracy, who's my business partner. She was also working there. Mm-hmm. And so that's really where my passion for literacy was. I was getting my master's degree in education and trying to become a teacher at the time. But when I walked into the adult literacy program and started meeting with the adults, I'm like, oh, no, this is where I want to be. There's something about the adults and their stories that really drew me to them and continued to draw me to them. So I was there for 12 years. And then, Tracy had a family. She adopted some kids. And then I also had a child. And we were deciding that how can we do this and still be at home with our kids? And we had this idea that, we want to help kids before they become these adults. So we started the Dyslexia Training Institute so that we could try to prevent the kids from becoming the adults. And then we foolishly thought that, having our own business would keep us at home with our families, but it didn't. It actually just brought us out all over the country and the world, doing lots of trainings and things like that. But that's what we're doing right now. We're still helping adults, but we're mostly working with kids and their families right now who have dyslexia.
Yeah, and I've never thought for once that you would settle down, et cetera, and be working from home. I mean, a lot of us are doing that now because of COVID, but we still figured out a way to be busy. So so you wanted to go into teaching. You got an internship at Read San Diego Public Library, and what did you discover? Maybe in working with adults and working in literacy that you didn't really expect?
It was the injustice of it all. It was having an adult man come into my office or my cubicle and tell me his story. And I was thinking my first gentleman that I spoke to, and he told me his story, and I was the first person he ever told, and he just started crying. And I was like 30. I was, young. Kind of naive, and to have this man just let all of his emotions go and tell me his story, and I'm thinking, just the injustice of it all, why this isn't fair. And then that was just compounded with just adult learner after adult learner after adult learner telling me similar stories. So that's kind of what I think I was a little naive to how much low literacy or struggling with literacy skills can really affect someone's life. And wanted to help them.
Yeah, and we're glad you were there and learning from it. I mean, when I think of my first years in literacy, I came 1985. I call that the era when we didn't know what we were doing, and and what caught us off guard, and that's why I'm so excited about the work that you're doing is. We just thought we were going to help people who didn't get a chance, and there was a lot of that, who never learned, they had to work when they were 10 years old, whatever the case was. We didn't know that we were coming across a learning difference, learning disability, and you can school me on that, by the way, in terms of what's the right terminology. We didn't know it, so we didn't understand why some people weren't getting it. When did you begin to see a pattern? How frequent was that? Yeah.
That was just it. It was because they're so smart and they were articulate and they were passionate. And I always said, if you were smart enough to be able to find Read San Diego, then there's something going on, not with you, but with the rest of the world. Why didn't we teach you how to read?
Yeah, good point.
How did this happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it wasn't particularly easy to find.
Right.
And so, and then they showed up, and then to show up and, kind of swallow your pride and tell somebody your story who you don't even know and trust them. It just shows that they have the motivation. They want to do it. They know they're intellectually capable of doing it, but somehow, somewhere along the line, someone just didn't know how to help them.
So you heard that, can I say, hundreds of times?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you've made a really good point that it's not easy to ask for help. People actually looked and found you, and we don't succeed with all of our students, but in a way we have succeeded just because we were accessible and hopefully helpful, and they were successful because they found the courage and found people like you and Tracy and the folks at Read San Diego. Just so folks will understand, and I did mention learning differences and learning disabilities, and then we have the term dyslexia. What is it that we're talking about here?
So with the adults, it could be a bunch of different things, but mainly it was dyslexia. So it's undiagnosed, unidentified dyslexia. And that is just somebody is intellectually capable of understanding how the English language works, but they're processing that language differently. And so because they're processing it differently than somebody who doesn't have dyslexia, they need someone to sit down and explicitly show them how English works in a way that makes sense to them. And that way has to be explicit, like giving them a reason for why something is spelled the way it is, and then helping them understand that reason so they can internalize it. So when they come to that word, or they come to a word with a similar pattern, they're able to read it. But it has to be, they're not just going to learn by being exposed to books like most other children. You can plop most kids into a class and they're just going to learn just by being around literacy activities. But kids with dyslexia need that explicit instruction.
So whole language is not going to work. Immersion is not going to work. It's not going to be those things. So that's kind of...
No, they need that individual attention. They need someone to sit with them. And a lot of it's too, they need someone to acknowledge their effort and someone to talk to them about it and say, you know what, we get it, we understand, we know you're trying, and let's go from there and just build a relationship first.
And how big is that, Kelli? How big is that aspect of things? Because it seems like so much of it is prescriptive and it's sequential, but how much of it is, we get it, this is hard for you, you're making progress, we understand, what you're dealing with.
The adults that I just interviewed, all of them, I asked all of them, did anyone ever sit down with you and tell you what they were doing with you and why? Did anyone ever ask you if it was working? Did anyone ever explain to you why they were doing what they were doing? Could you even describe to me what dyslexia is? And 90% of the time they said no. No one ever talked to me about it. I felt very misunderstood. I got the word misunderstood a lot. They just felt really misunderstood, really alone, very ashamed. So if people, before we sit down and just start opening a workbook, sit down and build that conversation and let them know that you have empathy for what they're going through as much as you possibly can.
And I've always felt like one of the cruelties has been that people weren't told that, look, hey, you're smart, this thing is happening.
Yeah.
And then you said in your, we'll call it definition for now, but I know there's more to this, undiagnosed, that this is a part of it. Why so?
Well, it's still happening. It still happens to kids every single day. That's why I interviewed people from 18 to 90, because I wanted to see if the experience had changed at all, and it's still the same. So they're not diagnosing kids early enough. They're waiting. They're saying, let's just see if he grows into it, or she's just a late bloomer, or, whatever it is. So getting that diagnosis is really important, because once the person gets the label, then they're like, oh, okay, it's not me. It's not my intelligence. It's not my lack of education or effort. It's my brain. And there's anything wrong with my brain. I just need to learn it a different way. I always tell them, it's not you, it's me. It's my fault. I need to figure out a different way. Like, if my students are looking at me like they have no idea what I'm talking about, like, that's not your fault, that's my fault.
Yeah. Very good. Kelli, you're going to find out, I'm not sure how many radio interviews you've done in your time. I'd like to think you've done a lot, but our segment is almost over. And
oh, wow.
Right, I know, right? So we've already been through about 10 minutes. And so we're going to take about a 3-minute break. While we're coming to the wrap-up, how can people get in touch with you if they want to?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of that.
The website address, or just a way to contact you.
Oh, yeah. So you can go to dyslexiatraininginstitute.org. It's a really long name. Okay. But just dyslexiatraininginstitute.org.
Very good, very good.
And that will take you right to that.
All right. Well, we've been talking to Dr. Kelli Sandman-Hurley. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk. And we're going to be back with Kelli in just about 3 minutes, so please stand by.
Can you help a newborn baby in need? Sometimes the blessing of birth becomes complicated and perilous. Miracle Babies is there to help. Miracle Babies helps moms and dads give their all to their struggling little baby, but still need more. When you give to Miracle Babies, you help them give more. More skin-to-skin care, breast milk, and love. Go to miraclebabies.org and give right now. Be their miracle. Looking to be a successful entrepreneur? The virtual assistant industry continues to be a top choice for those looking to start their own business. The problem can be how to become a virtual assistant. Many turn to the Bible of the VA industry, the book Virtual Assistant, the series, and it's the perfect guide for office managers, executive assistants, and other administrative professionals looking to make the transition from employee to successful business owner. Go to vatheseries.com to get your copy today.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Homeless veterans and their families are suffering and need our support, but many won't ask or don't know that help is within reach. Veterans Community Services is here to help. Amazingly, about 35% of the homeless in our neighborhoods are veterans with families. Low-income veterans or their friends are encouraged to contact Veterans Community Services and reach out for help with housing and other services. Call now, 800-974-9909.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Can you imagine a world without children? A world where children don't play, or dream, or imagine?
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're working every day to find cures for diseases that strike down children, because we can't imagine a world without children. Can you?
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. To learn how you can help, log on to our website, stjude.org.
Donate cash, furniture, clothes, and other gently used household items to Father Joe's Villages and get a nice tax break in April. Every donation is tax deductible. Believe you can make a difference. Be Father Joe. Go to neighborhood.org or call 1-800-HOMELESS to donate today.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome back to the show. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show. Our guest is Dr. Kelli Sandman-Hurley, and she's become Kelli. I'm so proud of you. I just have to say that.
I'm glad you said that because it gave me an opportunity to tell everybody that I wouldn't even be here without your help. So I appreciate it.
Oh my God. Well, we've helped each other, and it's just so inspiring. Just the things that you've done since both you and Stacy, Tracy have moved on. I said, well, what happened there? Tracy, I know Tracy. Actually, Tracy was the first guest on this show. Going back to April of 2018, and I still say it, and I'll admit it. I was so glad to have a friend as the first guest because I was nervous. But here we are. Hey, let me ask you a question. Just something that you said. That to explain to the students, to the individuals asking for help or being assessed, to explain things to them in a way that makes sense to them. Does that differ for people, that explanation?
Does it differ for what kind of people?
Just in general, your students, your clients.
Oh.
Yeah, is it a different explanation, or is it a certain thing that you have to tell different individuals who get help?
I mean, in order for them to get assessed and get the diagnosis?
Oh no, I confused you. So what I'm saying is to explain to them what's, it's a good question, right? I think I'm asking two questions at the same time. To explain to them their situation and to explain to them how to overcome what they're doing in a way that makes sense to them. There you go. So is that different?
So
is it different, or is it the same thing? Is it the same explanation?
It depends on their age, obviously, but I give the same explanation to everybody. Okay. I mean, just describing what dyslexia is and why they're struggling with what they're struggling with.
Yes.
Yeah, I tell them all the same exact thing. I always start. Let me back. One of the things they internalize too, when they internalize dyslexia, they internalize it as an experience. And those of us who work with them talk about it as a list of symptoms. Mm-hmm. So now I'm trying to talk to them about their experience first. So acknowledging their experience and that it's hard and that we get it and we're sorry, but this is why. So it's because it's the same reason for everybody. Obviously, dyslexia is going to look different in everybody. That everyone's got a different set of symptoms, and it'd be mild, moderate, profound, severe to profound. So that kind of depends on how I'll explain it to them as well. But no, they all get the same explanation.
Got it. And I think that was the answer I was looking for. Thanks for helping me out on that. So let me ask you about the Dyslexia Training Institute. Who are you serving? Because what jumps out at me when I look at the name of the organization, two things. One is training, and the other is institute. Are you working with people who are providing instruction? Are you working with people who are affected because of their dyslexia?
Yes.
Okay.
So we do both. Okay. So we work one-on-one with students who are struggling, and we also used to travel around quite a bit and train teachers and groups of people and anybody who wanted to see. Towards the, I don't want to say towards the end, because I'm hopefully this is at the end, but towards, lately what we've been doing is teaching a lot of educators. So a lot of school districts have been hiring us to come and do professional developments for teachers. That's mainly what we do as far as training other people, but we'll also do lots of groups for parents. So we'll do our Dyslexia for a Day simulation for groups of parents or community members. We did that actually online recently because we haven't been able to do it in person, and we want to make sure people are able to get it. So we'll do that for parents and any kind of group that wants to get together, but we also do that one-on-one, and we do advocacy. So we'll go to IEP meetings and advocate for students. I personally don't do that as much as I used to. Because it's really stressful. And then Tracy and I have also been involved at the state level helping Decoding Dyslexia California pass legislation for dyslexia. So a couple years ago. But we've been doing that as well.
Very good.
Yeah.
So you're doing the advocacy too. Let me ask you this. Now that you've described part of what you do, are the school districts, in your perception, are the school districts responding to general professional needs of the educators, or are they responding to, golly, we didn't do a good job training our teachers the first time around?
It kind of depends I would say not really responding as quickly as they need to.
Mm-hmm.
So some do, but sometimes when I go do a presentation, I feel like they're just checking off a box. Like they had to do a dyslexia presentation, and so they did one, and that's it. And I do feel that way sometimes, but at least I got somebody got something out of it, I hope, during that presentation. But really, nobody's moving fast enough. So what I've been saying after interviewing these adults is I really don't think the education system is taking the experience of people who struggle seriously enough. Like, I don't think they know how much it affects these people for the rest of their lives. And I just don't think they're moving fast enough. And I could just go on and on about that.
Well, I want you to, and I kind of tempted you on that one. I mean, and let's get deeper into it because it's been, we love our educators, and we know that we give them every kind of challenge in the world. But at the same time, we know that a percentage of the population is going to struggle with reading, probably because they have a learning difference. Well, one in 6 individuals, maybe 1 in 7, whatever. But that's going to be there. What would you like to see happening in our training of educators?
Well, you brought up a really good point. Trace and I always said we don't blame our teachers; we blame our teacher education programs.
Mm-hmm.
So I would really like to see teacher education programs including a really good quality piece in their curriculum about what dyslexia is and how to identify it early, and not just kind of teach them to throw everything at the wall at the kid and see what sticks, but to teach them that structured literacy, teach them how to identify it early, take it seriously, make sure that, because these kids could get identified in kindergarten, get the intervention in kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and then never have to step foot in special education. And then special education will be open to the kids who really need that extra support. Because kids who are struggling with reading and writing don't actually need to be pulled out of class. They just need someone to teach them how to read, so that they can move on with their lives. So I just like them to take it a little bit more seriously, believe that it's real, and then add it into their curriculum and make sure their teachers actually get more than 1 3-hour night of dyslexia intervention in the classroom.
Right. So our reading specialists, do we assume that reading specialists are also well-versed in what's taking place with these learning challenges?
We do assume that. And what's really interesting is that we do online courses. So we offer online courses in all kinds of things, like what is dyslexia, reading comprehension. We certify people in Norton Gillingham and we don't certify in structured inquiry, but we offer structured word inquiry. And almost everyone who takes our class is a teacher doing it on their own. And almost all the time they put in a comment and say, I can't believe I didn't get this in my master's program. I can't believe I didn't get this in the reading specialist program. So they know, too, that they don't have the tools either, and it's frustrating for them, too. But we do think that they know what they don't know.
Right.
They know that they don't know.
I have a family, I would say family member because we're really tight. She's a teacher in Florida, and she said, you know what, I am so excited that I can't wait till Orton Gillingham comes to our district. And I was like, what? And so, right? And so, so what, you have to ask yourself, what's happening out there that even though I'm not real in depth on this subject matter, I've known about Orton Gillingham forever, and I know you're well versed in it. And so, but it just seems like we're kind of missing the boat.
It's nowhere. It's not even in San Diego.
Are you kidding me? So, okay.
No, I'm not kidding you.
Okay, no, you're not kidding me. But the concepts are, right? I mean, the whole idea of, and tell me if I'm simplifying this, because, I like to think in terms of multisensory, sequential phonics, phonemic awareness, et cetera. Is that coming in some other form? It's not Orton Gillingham, but it's kind of the same concepts?
So what's happening is curriculum developers are getting really, really smart. And so they're using all those buzzwords and then putting them into their own curriculum. And then the school districts are now saying, look, this says multisensory, this says structured. But it's not. It's all over the place. And, I'll look through the curriculum, and I'm like, no, this isn't Orton Gillingham. I know you used all the buzzwords. I know you threw in some multisensory here and there. But that's not what this structured literacy actually is. So that's what we're really up against right now is curriculum developers getting really, really smart and then selling that to districts, and then districts feel like, well, I researched this, I bought it, and now we have to use it. Like, well, it's not really appropriate, and then it becomes a big argument.
But they're not really researching it, are they? I know that's. I mean, is it the wrong people who are seeing? And I know we're going to go to break in a second here, and let's come back to that because I think it's an important part of the conversation. Who's making these decisions on curriculum? You know, there's this packaging. There's, like you say, the buzzwords. There's folks that we're hoping are preparing our teachers in the best way possible. There are the administrators, and I do want to come back to the whole IEP thing because I think it's interesting to see you're in, given that you're both an advocate for educators and for the students, and then you get into that IEP situation, and I'm going to guess, Kelli, that it can be a little bit tense at times. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's why I don't do it that often anymore.
Right. Yeah. Right. Not a lot of fun. I've seen some of the most well-versed parents who had a lot of passion and were loud and a little bit scary, and they were still frustrated. So we're going to come back to that. We've been talking to Dr. Kelli Sandman-Hurley, and you've been listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk. We'll be right back.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com. Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com. Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.